Have you ever reached that breaking point where your heart feels shattered? Every door seems to be locked, and there's absolutely no way forward. In those darkest hours of despair, people often turn towards something greater than themselves, a higher power. And for many, that choice is to whisper a prayer to Jesus. What is strange, and often unexplainable, is that while answers don't always arrive instantly, unexpected things happen, so unexpected that those who experience them can never forget. A young woman once shared her story. She had lost her job, debts were piling up, and her closest friends had turned their backs on her. That night, in a small dimly lit room, she fell to her knees and wept uncontrollably. With her voice trembling, she cried out to Jesus, "I have nothing left. Please help me." Deep inside, she doubted anything would change. She even thought her prayer was meaningless. But at the very moment she finished her words, something unusual happened. Her phone suddenly vibrated. On the screen was a message from an old friend she had not heard from in years. The text was short, almost random. "I don't know why, but I felt I had to check on you. Are you okay?" At that instant, she felt a warmth flood her heart, as if Jesus himself had chosen to use her. A friend's voice to remind her that she was not abandoned. The despair did not disappear immediately. But deep inside, she realized she had just been given a small light to carry through her darkness. Here lies the surprising truth. Prayer does not always bring about an instant miracle. Sometimes, the first thing that changes is not your circumstances, but your heart. And once the heart begins to shift, the path ahead becomes clearer. For this young woman, that single text message led to a conversation that eventually opened a door to a new job opportunity she thought was lost forever. Everything began with that one moment when she cried out in desperation, expecting nothing. You might wonder, wasn't this just a coincidence? Perhaps, but look closely, and you will see that certain coincidences seem to happen only after a desperate prayer has been spoken. They are like gentle touches, quiet knocks at the door of your soul, whispers reminding you that Jesus has never left your side, even when you are convinced you are utterly alone. And this, in truth, is only the beginning. When prayer rises out of deep despair, you may not be met with silence at all. Instead, you might find that on the other side of your cry, a door has been quietly waiting for you to open, one that leads to something more unexpected than you ever imagined. There's a truth that often leaves people unsettled. When you pray in your darkest despair, sometimes nothing seems to happen. You kneel down, pour out your pain, cry your heart out, and expect a miracle to arrive immediately. But then silence. That silence can feel crushing. It makes many wonder if their prayers are even heard at all. But have you ever considered that silence itself might also be an answer? There was once a man who went through a devastating collapse. His business had failed. His family was on the edge of breaking apart, and he felt like the ground beneath him had disappeared. One night, he prayed desperately, "Lord, if you are still here, please give me a sign." Yet for days, nothing came. Only silence. Anger filled him. He even thought about walking away from faith entirely. But one night, exhausted and restless, he picked up a Bible that had been gathering dust on a shelf. He flipped it open at random, and the very first words his eyes landed on seemed to leap off the page. "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." In that moment, he realized something extraordinary. God does not always answer with dramatic signs or thunderous miracles. Sometimes he uses silence as a canvas, so that when the right word or the right moment arrives, it pierces straight through the soul. What looks like nothing may in fact be everything you need. Have you noticed it too? When you truly open your heart, sometimes it is in the stillness of prayer that you hear what you need most. Not in loud voices, but in the gentle whisper that changes you from the inside out. That quiet shift in the heart is often where Jesus chooses to enter, and that shift becomes the beginning of a new journey. If you've ever prayed and felt only silence, I invite you to share your experience in the comments below. You never know, your story could become the light that guides someone else who is struggling right now. And if you believe that Jesus has his own ways of answering, ways that go beyond what we expect, then press the like button to help spread this message further. The miracle here is not that every prayer gets an immediate response, but that in patience, you begin to see that you are never truly abandoned. Sometimes, God is simply waiting for the perfect moment to open a door you never even imagined existed. And when that moment comes, it will overwhelm you in ways you could never predict. The strangest thing about praying in despair is not always the miracle that happens outside, but the transformation that takes place deep within the soul. Some people enter prayer completely broken. Yet when they rise, they realize they're no longer the same person. And it is this inner change that often unlocks doors they never even noticed before. There was once a young man trapped in addiction and hopelessness. Each day felt like a spiral pulling him deeper into darkness. He had lost faith in the future. More than once, he considered ending his life. One cold, rainy night, he nearly went through with it. But in that desperate moment, almost against his will, he whispered, "Jesus, if you are real, please save me." He expected nothing. He was certain no one was listening. Yet, what happened next stunned him. A sudden gust of wind blew through the open window, scattering papers and knocking an old book onto the floor. Startled, he picked it up. To his surprise, it was a small, worn Bible he had forgotten he even owned. His trembling hands opened it, and his eyes fell upon the words, "I have come that they may have life, and have it abundantly." Those words cut through his despair like lightning through the night. For the first time in years, tears streamed down his face, not from sadness, but from a strange, powerful hope filling his heart. Here was the unexpected truth. The miracle did not arrive from the outside world, but from an invisible force breaking into his soul. He was not instantly freed from addiction, nor did all his problems disappear overnight. But in that single moment, he found a reason to keep living. Slowly, he sought help, began to recover, and step by step, his life took on a completely new direction. Praying in despair is not just about asking to be pulled out of your circumstances. It is also the moment you allow Jesus to reach the very roots of your being. Sometimes what you need is not a hand to drag you immediately out of the pit, but the strength to climb out yourself. And when that strength comes from Him, it becomes an enduring change, one that cannot be shaken by anything in this world. If you have ever gone through a moment where prayer brought you not an outward solution, but an inner renewal, I encourage you to share it. Your testimony could be the hope someone else desperately needs right now, because sometimes, right when you think you have hit rock bottom, God is quietly planting a new seed inside you, a seed that will one day grow into something greater than you ever imagined. And perhaps this is the greatest surprise of all. In your darkest despair, the true answer may not be the change in your situation, but the transformation that makes you into an entirely new person. There is one thing many people only realize after praying in their deepest despair. The greatest miracle is not always a sudden change in circumstances, but the undeniable presence of Jesus in their lives. When a person falls to the very bottom of darkness, that is often the moment they finally discover that the light has never left. It was simply hidden behind fear and pain. A woman once shared her story. Her husband had left, her children had drifted away, and illness had weakened her body. It seemed as though she had lost everything. One quiet night, she collapsed onto the floor and whispered, "Lord, I have no one left. Please do not abandon me." She did not hear thunder from heaven or witness an immediate miracle. But the next morning, As she opened her eyes, an unexplainable peace rested upon her soul. The fear was still there, the illness remained, but she had been given a strange and powerful strength to keep moving forward. And this is the surprising truth. Sometimes prayer does not remove the storm, but instead gives us the heart to stand firm in the middle of it. That peace is the priceless gift, the undeniable proof that Jesus is walking beside us, even when the winds rage and the waves crash. Perhaps you too have experienced a moment like this when nothing outside seemed to change, but suddenly you found yourself able to smile, to endure, to keep going. And in that very moment you knew you were not alone. The journey of praying in despair is, in reality, a journey of rediscovering love and presence. It is not a fairy tale with a perfect ending delivered instantly. Rather, it is a profound relationship, where you come to understand that He has been holding your hand all along, step by step, even while the path remains filled with trials. And you, listening now, can also experience this. You may not see an answer right away. You may feel only silence. But remember this, silence does not mean absence. Silence is often the sacred pause before something unexpected is revealed. If you have ever prayed in despair and felt the miraculous presence of Jesus in your life, consider sharing your story. Your words could become the hope someone else desperately needs. And if this message touched your heart today, I gently invite you to press the like button or leave a comment. Because sometimes, even a small gesture of sharing can become the spark that changes someone's life forever.